or yourself that you have some forgiveness work to do with.
Of love, can I let go of resentments and see the value of if I let you off the hook? Am I giving up or in if I let go of you or me? Do you finally win? In this place of forgiveness, I release and I let go. I shift my inner awareness and allow myself to grow. In this place of forgiveness is a joy I've always known. Oh, in this place of forgiveness, I might have found my own. When I look beyond illusions, no harm's been really done. I can no longer blame you for a life that's come undone. I'm looking for some peace, and I'm ready to move on from a pain that's totally on me and left me so withdrawn. In this place of forgiveness, I release and I let go. I shift my inner awareness and allow myself to grow. In this place of forgiveness is a joy I've always known. Oh, in this place of forgiveness, I might have found my home. Found my home. Found my home in forgiveness.
Just take a deep breath in for me. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. So I had to learn how to forgive myself, and that was the key component to my son's healing. And a lot of times we hold people in a place where they have to be our teacher. You recognize that? They have to mirror the things in us that we struggle with and learn how to accept ourselves and love ourselves in exactly who we are. So my son was that for me. And I struggled with forgiveness because I didn't know exactly how to do that. Like, that's a big word, isn't it? Big word, forgiveness. And a lot of people think it means to say it was okay or to let it go or to get over it. And I really don't think that is it. What I have found that forgiveness is about is finding the value in the experience. So you don't have to say something's okay. You don't have to even stay connected to that person. But when you can find the value in the experiences that were so hard to move through, that is forgiveness. So in my experience, the value of all of that pain and all of those years of doing this was an amazing value, because I have a gift that a lot of people struggle with, and that gift is I learned to love myself. And that was a beautiful, beautiful value that came from that experience. So finding the value in the experience. So in my environment, you know, I was pregnant, and I lived in this shack, and we slept on the floor, and we didn't have running water, and mice would run over us in the middle of the night, and it was a very, very unhealthy environment. Very unhealthy. Because it matched the vibration that I was in, which was not healthy. And because of that, when I was doing this forgiveness work, I had to figure out what was the value of that. What was the value of being in this unhealthy relationship, being with this alcoholic? What was the value of that? And what the value was for me was I learned in a short amount of time what I didn't want in a relationship. In one nice little package. That's what I learned. And oftentimes that has incredible value for us. It gets us much closer to what we want. How many of you have things that you've learned from your parents that you didn't want to repeat? Okay? If you have struggles with people in your lives, some of the greatest gift is what they taught you not to do. It isn't that we always teach people what to do and how to walk. We teach them what we don't want. How we want to be different. And it creates an expansion within us. And that expansion is here if we can see it, if we can allow it, if we can find the value in it, create the forgiveness. So Archangel Zadkiel connects with forgiveness. And for me, that was a huge, huge step because my son got better and better and better and better. To where he's 22 years old, he's a beautiful, beautiful kid, has a great life, creating a lot of wonderful things in his life. And there were days when he was 8 or 9 that people would tell me he's going to end up in prison. So, Archangel Raphael, I'd like to do an exercise with Archangel Raphael and call his energy in. How many of you are familiar with Raphael's energy? Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing. He vibrates the color green. And Raphael is the angel that you can call on when you need physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual healing. Now, what does it mean to call on? What does that mean? To invoke or call on? It just means to ask. You have to ask for help in order to receive it. We have this law of free will you might have heard about. We have to be willing to ask and say, hey, I need help. And that applies in this physical world as well as it does in the spirit world. Ask for what you need. And so many of us struggle not only with asking. Asking, I think, is the easier part. It's being open to receive it. Being open to receive it. Because when we can be open to receive it, then it can come to us. But if we ask, and usually we're asking from our head, and when we ask, we're closed off. Can't receive. We have to be open to receive. So Archangel Raphael came to me at a time in my life that literally saved my life. Absolutely saved my life. And after I had my son, or well, I was pregnant with my son, a few months into it, I developed toxemia. Toxemia was created, manifested because of all the negative thinking that I had, all the fear and pain and anxiety and rage and all the energy that I had within me. Literally, my body was toxic, fighting the baby, basically. A couple months later, I developed preeclampsia, which turned into eclampsia, and when I went into labor with my son, I had a stroke. It's a little challenging time for me. And after I had my son, he went home, and I stayed in the hospital because I had 106 fever for over 3 weeks. Well, nearly 3 weeks, not quite 3 weeks. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They couldn't find any source of infection. I had infection all over, but they couldn't find the source, the cause of it. They just tried every single thing they could. I had infection from my chest to my knees, and they couldn't figure it out. And most of that time, I was out of my body. I don't remember a lot of it, but most of my time I was out of my body, and I know that because I knew what my nurse's head looked like, the top of his head. So, on a Saturday afternoon, apparently I came into my body, and so did the doctors come into the room, and they said, we don't think you're going to live. We don't know what's going to happen to you. We can't find any cause. We don't know what else to do for you. And that, I didn't realize that I was that sick, that was like an option. But when they said that to me, they said, we need you to sign your rights away to your son. Because you're a single mom, and we need to know legally where your son goes. because I hadn't put the father on the birth certificate. Because I hadn't even filled out a birth certificate yet, because I was so sick I couldn't. And when they came to me and they said that, it triggered something in me. First of all, I kind of have a little bit of a control issue. Not as much now as I did then. But I don't like to be told that I'm going to die. I didn't really like to be told anything, but that was a big one. And so when they came in and said that, something within me said, oh, I'll show you. So that day, that afternoon, I called on Raphael and I said, Raphael, I need some help. But I didn't ask for my head. I asked for help from my whiny, victim-placed head for a very long time. I asked for the place of my heart, and I opened my arms to receive that help. And I was guided then to call every person that I knew. I had a huge family. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. This kind of woo-woo stuff was not normal in that environment. So I had a lot of my own judgments and criticism with a lot of my family because they were so religious and I was the odd one out, so to speak. But I called every one of them and I said, please pray for me, put me on a prayer list, put me on the temple list, I don't care. Because I need healing. And then the whole day and afternoon, I visualized Raphael being with me. I visualized that healing energy moving through me, each one of my cells in my body. And the next morning, my fever broke. And the next day, I checked myself out of the hospital so that I could go and see my son, because I hadn't seen him. So when you invoke Raphael's energy, it creates miracles in your life, because I am one. And that's not the only time I've pulled that card, so to speak. So I'd like to do an exercise in calling in Raphael's energy. Are y'all open to that? Okay, so what you need to do is you need to have a partner, and you need to turn and face them. So just whoever's kind of sitting next to you, partner up. If you don't have a partner, raise your hand and we'll find one for you. Okay, I've got one here right here. There's a gal right behind you, sir. Oh, she's coming up to you. Anybody else not have a partner that would like one? Anybody else not have a partner that would like one? Okay, everybody has a partner? So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. First of all, take a breath. I'm going to get a little nervous. Woo, did you feel the energy in the room change? Woo, a little nervous. Okay, I'm going to ask you to ask or say out loud to your partner, I'm willing to trust you for this exercise. Okay. I'm going to call in Raphael's energy. Your job is just to be present and experience it. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take your left hand, you're going to put it on your partner's heart. Okay, your right hand is going to meet underneath and you're going to hold hands with your right hand. So if you look at the way what's happening with your body or the people around you, you're making an infinity symbol with your body. Okay? You see that? So this is called the infinity breath. And it is the best way I can bring in the energy of the healing and the power that I experience with the archangels, all of the archangels, but that energy and that power. So I'm hoping that you can allow yourselves to receive it as well. So what I'm going to ask you to do is as one of you takes a breath in, the other one is going to take a breath out. And as one of you takes a breath in, the other will take a breath out, so that it becomes one infinite breath. And I don't want you to try so hard. So I don't want you to and hold your breath. And I don't want you to do that. I just want you to allow yourselves to get into sync. Because the truth of the matter is, we are already one. So just let yourself become that oneness. Okay, are you open and willing? Okay, everybody take one deep breath together. Listen to this song as you just focus on your breath and become aware.